What's up guys, this is Kai from KaiCreative. Last year we had the opportunity to film a music video for the indie group Flyzig, and if you want to check out that music video, the link is in the description below. We managed to film the whole video in one day. It wasn't easy and I learnt a lot. So today I'm counting down my top 10 tips on how you can film your music video in one day. Number 10. So before you do anything with your DSLR kits, you have to sit down and talk to the artist, the band, the group, whoever's recording the music, and discuss your ideas and their ideas. Find out what their vision for the music video is. The vision that you have and the vision that they have might not necessarily be the same. So you want to talk with them first. Sit down, perhaps go out for a coffee. That's what we did with Flyzig. We went to the pub, we had a meal, we had a drink, and we spoke about what ideas they had. And we talked about what was realistic in the time frame and what was unrealistic. Also, you might want to consider having a storyboard for each of the scenes that you want to film. Now, I'm not talking about getting a professional artist in necessarily. If you want to do that, then that's great. But just having a few sketches of a timeline, of a storyboard, of what's going to happen and where is great for you to make sure that you're not wasting too much time in the day. Remember, you've only got a day to film this, so you want to make sure that everything is planned out correctly. You don't want to be wasting time on the day with people thinking that other things were going to be filmed and we had this idea and we had that idea. We want to have all of those points ironed out before we hit any of our filming locations. And this brings us on nicely to point number 9. Number 9. Point number 9 is to make sure you know your locations. Make sure that you've recce'd your locations beforehand. If you need permission to film in these locations, make sure you get that so you don't have security or police turning up to evict you or eject you from these areas. So we filmed in several locations, and this meant waking up very early at 4 o'clock in the morning to make sure that we could hit the beach by 5 with our actor coming out of the sea, moving on to a location in the forest to do some scenes in the woods, and also then moving on to a abandoned warehouse. Now, we didn't have permission to film in these areas. The Flyzig guys had already recce'd the location, so they knew what location we were going to hit and where, and how quickly we could be in and out of those locations. And I'm not saying that you need to break the law. You definitely don't want to do that. But if you can get in and film your scene quickly and get out without causing any issues and no one knows about it, then that's up to you. In our case, we went to an abandoned warehouse that was not really fenced off. We could gain access quite easily. And we set up our kit in there, we filmed in there, and we moved on. So point number 9 and number 10, planning and locations go hand in hand. You have to plan what you're going to film in the locations you're going to film in. Now that means that you need to know what time is the best to hit what area. In our case, going to the beach in the morning was our primary shot because it was Mr. Flyzig coming out of the sea as the sun was rising. Now, we only had 15 minutes to get that shot just right with the sun in the sky where it was and Mr. Flyzig walking out of the sea. And thankfully, we got that shot. It really sets the story for the whole music video, but we'll talk about story a little bit later. Number 8. Point number 8 is in line with planning and preparation, and that is to make sure that you have enough SD cards, enough memory to film all the shots that you need for your music video. Make sure that your SD cards are fully formatted before you go out into the field. As well as this, make sure that you have your batteries charged and ready to go. I've had a few problems in the past where I've not properly formatted my cards before going into a shoot and have then had to sort them out later or delete them on the field, which is a bit of a time-wasting procedure. You want to make sure that they're ready to go in your bag, on your case, on your person before you go out to film your music video. Also, make sure that you have enough batteries to keep you going through the day. Make sure they're fully charged and have them on your person. If you're going to walk into a forest and your SD cards and batteries are in the car, or you've left them in the van, and you're in the middle of a shoot and you've run out of memory, or your batteries died and you don't have them on your person, that again is going to waste time with people running back to cars and vans. One of the pieces of equipment that I like to use is a utility belt from Think Tank, and it has enough pockets and size to carry all the batteries and SD cards that you could ever need, so that you're fully prepared for your music video shoots. Number 7. So point number 7 is to make sure you film your content flat. So we shot our music video on a Canon 5D Mark III, and the default Canon settings generally add in a lot of sharpness and contrast that you just don't want in your music video, because afterwards you're going to want to color grade it and fix it up according to how you're going to want to do it. So what I like to do with most of my content before filming is to take all those levels right down to 0. So I have a very flat picture that I can work with in post. And what this means in post is that I can grade it effectively so that I go for the look that the band is going for. In fact, when I made the first cut of the music video, the guys all agreed that the color was still too vibrant. It was still too green in some cases for the kind of feel that they were looking for. If you want to make it vibrant, or if you want to do anything with that footage later, you are able to do so, and you're not hindered because you've got this extra vibrant, punchy, colorful, contrasted sharpness from the default settings in your Canon camera. Number 6. So point number 6 is to use a phone and a wireless Bluetooth speaker to play out the song for which you're making the music video. The reason we want to use a Bluetooth speaker with the actual song playing is so that if people are miming the song, or if they're playing music along with the song, you can easily sync it up in post. And it's really convenient to sync one of these up to your mobile phone, play the song out, everyone can hear it, and then they can sing along to it, and you can lip sync and sound sync later on. One of the problems that we did discover was that when the drums were playing, they literally overpowered the levels and sound power of these devices. So if you're using louder instruments like drums, it might be useful to get something a little bit more powerful and louder. Number 5. Point number 5 is to make sure you take multiple shots or multiple cutaways of the band or the group or the artist performing the entire song. This is really useful for cutaways and safety shots later on. If you want to cover something up, or if someone's made a mistake or something doesn't quite fit, then you can cut away to a different shot or angle. It's also a great idea to have each individual member of the group, in our case there's 5 members, so we got each of them to perform the whole song by themselves, and we took multiple shots of their eyes, of their mouth singing the song, of their hands playing guitars or playing the drums. And just having that footage gives you a lot of cutaways, a lot of B-roll to use in the production of the music video, but also it gives you a lot of opportunities to take different angles and shots and make your video that much more interesting. Number 4. So point number 4 is to make sure you tell a story. As video makers, we love to tell a story. We could just have views of the band playing or the artist singing, but having a story weaved in and out of the band or the musician playing or singing makes the music video that much more interesting. In our case, we had Mr. Flyzig coming out of the sea and searching for something and looking around and ending up at the end finding someone. But just having him in the music video, having this sort of side story, following this character along as he interacts with the band and he finds someone at the end, in my opinion, makes it that much more interesting. Number 3. So point number 3 in our top 10 list is to make sure you use a Steadicam or a gimbal. Most music videos have a lot of energy and power, and the best way to do that is to include movement of your camera. And the best way to get smooth movements is to use a Steadicam or a gimbal. In our case, we use the Steadicam 5000, which is about $150 on Amazon, but the production value, the quality of the movement adds so much more professionalism to your music videos. So I would definitely recommend mounting a second camera or having your main camera mounted on a Steadicam for some parts of the shot. So we used our Steadicam to move around the band while they performed one of the takes of the song, as well as setting off smoke grenades. Adding in that movement as well as the smoke grenades at the ultimate part of the song adds a lot of energy and intensity into that scene. Number 2. Point number 2 is to make sure that you have adequate lighting. So in our case, we use the sun at the beginning of the day to get the golden hour and have that nice glow of the sun coming up behind Mr. Flyzig as he walked out of the sea. Then we moved on to the forest where we just used natural lighting. We just had to work around the sun where it was cutting through the trees. And finally at the warehouse, we had to put up some panel lights just to lighten up the band a little bit as it was a little bit dark and out of the sun. So just using panel lights or reflectors can add so much more professionalism and quality to your video, and it doesn't take that much time to arrange and sort out. Just having an eye for where shadows might be cast can really help get the lighting correct in your music videos. Number 1. So my number 1 tip for filming a music video in one day is try not to be a perfectionist. This is something that I personally have an issue with, where I try to get the shot perfect at each location, but sometimes that's not always viable. Like we said before, we only had 15 minutes to get Mr. Flyzig coming out of the sea with the sun coming up in the background, and then it was finished. So if we spent too long setting up everything and getting the angle right, we would have missed that opportunity. So try not to be a perfectionist for everything, especially as you might have to move on to different locations. You don't necessarily want to be trying to be a perfectionist for one shot. It's best to get every shot that you originally storyboarded or you originally planned to film, as opposed to just filming 1 or 2 perfect shots and then having nothing for the rest of the music video. Obviously, if you're filming over 2 or 3 days for your music video, then perhaps it's fine to spend a little bit more time working on those shots and getting them perfect. But if you're only filming in 1 day, like we were, then you can't be a perfectionist. You need to get the shot and you need to move on. Now, you might not be happy on the day, and some of our shots we were not happy with. In post-production, we tried to correct this by adding shake and adding lens flares to cover up a lot of the sins that were seen in the shots. As well as that, filming a lot of B-roll helps. Again, individual shots of each of the band members, having full shots of the band playing several times over really helped to fill in the gaps where there were mistakes in some of the scenes that we set. So try not to be a perfectionist, get the shot, move on, and you will have enough content to finish your music video. So that's my top 10 tips on how you can successfully film your music video in 1 day. If you've done music videos before and you've got extra tips or tricks, then please let me know in the comment box below. If there's anything else with regards to filmmaking or videography that you want to know about, then again, please let me know in the comment box and I'll see what I can do. Please don't forget to like this video if you like it and share it if you find it valuable. And don't forget to subscribe to me here at KaiCreative, and I'll see you guys next time.